Every once in a while, the US media actually kind of tells the truth. And today, a report out of Florida got about halfway there. By US media standards, I would consider that a success. Today, I want to show you a report out of Florida, where they're finally acknowledging that Canadians aren't showing up and even selling their properties. I also have an article that was sent to me about the Hilton Hotel. The Hilton brand dropped one of their hotels because that property refused to let ICE stay there. I have a lot of thoughts on this one. We also have an update out of Las Vegas from a TikTok creator who goes through what is already closed in 2025 and asks what the outlook is for 2026. So yeah, I'm going to give my prediction. And lastly, we have another skit from Claire Blackwood with yet another impression of Karoline Leavitt threatening Canada. So yeah, we got a lot to unpack in this video today. Today's backdrop comes from JP, who sent in this photo from Upper Joffrey Lake in British Columbia. What an incredible shot. JP also sent me about 4 other photos that I'll be using in the future as well. This is a good reminder that everyone should take advantage of the incredible nature attractions that we have across Canada. So thank you, JP, for sending this over. And before I get started, a few people have told me that they believe my channel is being shadow banned and that the notifications or videos on the homepage aren't showing up anymore. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it's true. So if my videos aren't appearing for you, you should still be able to find me by typing in Guard the Leaf into the search bar. And regardless, I'll continue to do my best to post daily videos. Okay, let's get started.
They are missing in action. We're talking about Canadian tourists.
Their migration south to the U.S. has slowed considerably in the past year.
Yeah, sorry, I'm interrupting already. But this part is important. It's not often you actually hear a Florida outlet actually say that Canadian visits have dropped off considerably, or even use language like that at all. In a lot of their previous reports, Canada is not even mentioned. Yet somehow, tourism is just mysteriously down. I just wanted to point that out for everyone, because let's not forget who their audience actually is.
Gulf Coast News chief political correspondent Dave Elias shows us the impact it is having in Florida.
Fewer Canadian flags are flying proudly here along the Gulf Coast, and that's because there are fewer Canadians visiting here. In fact, many of them have decided to put their homes up for sale.
We've been here since 2010, so that's almost 16 years.
Urquhart is a seasonal resident.
The situation of the leadership of the USA and the way they treat Canadians, we're not valued at all.
That's pushed her, though, to put her North Fort Myers home up for sale.
I'm not ready to go, but I feel like we're being forced to go.
So it sounds like she's a Canadian snowbird who went to the US, but really had no choice but to go and has decided to list her property for sale. I'm sure there are thousands of others in the exact same situation. I actually did a previous video on this about Canadian snowbirds who went south, but they're trying to sell their properties. And many of them are stuck competing with hundreds of other homes in the communities that are also for sale. But she's right when she says you're being forced to leave. And not just by the president. In many cases, it's coming from the local citizens in Florida. Sure, some of the locals genuinely appreciate the Canadian friends. But not everything is roses and lavender and peace and quiet, like what Joan mentioned in my previous report, when she said all Americans were apologizing to her.
Last year when we left in the spring, I think there was a bit of concern as to what the feeling was going to be of fellow Floridians that were here, what the American people might feel. But I have encountered none of that at all. In fact, I've laughed and said for Canadians, we're always telling, historically, we get teased about the fact that we say, oh, we're sorry. We're always saying we're sorry. That has changed now. It's the Americans who are saying sorry. And that happens on a frequent basis. I've had clerks come out from behind counters in stores that I've visited over the past 12 years and hugged me and said, I'm so happy that you're back. Thank you for coming back. We're so glad you're here.
That's Snowbird Joan in her little bubble, thinking that everyone's apologizing to her. Maybe they're happy to see you because they get to keep their jobs. Because if you look at the comments on the report, you'll quickly see that there's a much bigger world outside of Joan's bubble. A world that doesn't want you there, or quite frankly, doesn't care about Canadians or their contribution to Florida.
Well, new numbers show that 15% fewer Canadians are now coming to the United States.
Yeah, my parents.
Canadian Phil James visits yearly and says many are doing so under the radar.
If you go down and your neighbors know you were in Florida, you might want to try and keep it secret, which isn't good because there's, of course, the trade tensions.
Well, the trade tensions isn't the biggest thing that Canadians are upset about. But one thing I do have to remember, and this is something I learned from Sarah at the Java Moose Cafe, is that the media often cuts out anything that doesn't serve their narrative. So maybe he did mention the 51st state, the border issues, and everything else, but the media had simply cut it out. That said, Visiting his parents is not something I'm going to hold against this guy at all.
And it's having an impact on the Florida rental market.
I see that as well. We have Canadian guests who stopped renting after last winter.
Despite this, the Florida Visitors and Convention Bureau reports tourism is up slightly over last year.
We also have less bookings in the European market.
So let me get this straight. The media says that the Florida Visitors and Convention Bureau claims that tourism is up slightly, and then they go right back to the rental agency that says that things are bad. So which is it? And which do you want to believe? The bureau that puts up numbers likely to keep DeSantis happy, or the actual businesses that can clearly see that their rentals are down?
For the summertime, and I talked to a lot of colleagues in Cape Coral who are seeing the same.
Property management specialist Dorit Dormeyer says the market now must rely more than ever on U.S. travelers to visit the Sunshine State.
Rely on domestic all you want, but we all know that the international tourists, they stay longer and spend more. There's a message in this report they're trying to push, that yes, there is a decrease in Canadians, but the Tourism Visitor Bureau, or whatever their organization they're from, is saying that everything is fine. But the other message, and the more important one in my opinion, is coming from the snowbirds who are selling or trying to sell their property. And it's also coming from the rental agencies that say they're down drastically and point out that other regions in Florida are down as well. So I know which message I'm going to be listening to. Now I want to move on to the next article titled, Hilton Drops Minneapolis Hotel Over Canceled ICE Bookings. I find it pretty ironic that the Hilton brand is using the excuse that they treat everyone equally and that their brand accepts everyone and that there is no discrimination. When the very people being denied are part of an organization that has no morals and explicitly targeting people of color through profiling. The company said this on Twitter. We are taking immediate action to remove this hotel from our systems. Hilton is and always has been a welcoming place for all. I guess that includes people who wear masks, run around the United States, detaining and kidnapping people, and are now shooting people in the face. I know there are a lot of brands that many of us are boycotting in the United States, and Hilton within the US is an easy one, because we're just not going there. But Hilton is a global brand, and just like in my area here in Kuala Lumpur, there are 2 full pages of hotels tied to the Hilton brand. So I want to show this to everyone to make it clear that when you're booking a hotel while traveling in Mexico, Portugal, Spain, the rest of Europe, Australia, or Asia, or anywhere else in the world, I would strongly suggest booking a local hotel or a European-based brand instead. Now I want to move on to Las Vegas, where a local TikTok creator is showing the effects of 2025. We all know Vegas has gotten expensive, and that's definitely a factor. But we also can't ignore the fact that the drop in international tourists is making a real impact.
Las Vegas tourism was down in 2025, and I need your help predicting what's going to happen in 2026. This year, Vegas experienced between 6 and 10% fewer visitors than they did in 2024. But it's important to note that 2024 was a record year. We're talking about swings in numbers between 39 and 43 million. So Vegas never has and never will be dead. But let's talk about why there's a slump. Our economy is unstable, Canadians have boycotted us, and international visitors are scared to come.
I love the honesty in these reasons, and all of them are valid. We'll never hear this from News 3 Las Vegas or any other local news stations. They would only point out the rising costs and room rates as the excuse for the failing tourism economy. But those 3 reasons together are a trifecta, and they're a major part of why I don't think 2026 is going to improve for Las Vegas. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a YouTuber venting.
People are saying that Vegas is expensive and that the value isn't there anymore. In response to these concerns, Vegas has rolled out a lot of value initiatives this fall and winter, and we've got a lot going for us. Economists are predicting a full bounce back in 2026. I've learned that you all are better predictors than any of the economic analysts, so tell me if you're planning to visit in 2026 and what you're looking forward to. If you're not, tell me what would change your mind. The tourism board reads every comment, so share your thoughts. I'll share mine in the comments too, and thanks for following me for all the Vegas.
I'll tell you my plans for 2026. I will not go to Las Vegas, and I will not go back to the United States as a whole until it becomes sane again, and that might be never. I won't be enticed by discounts, exchange at par rates, or promotions aimed directly at Canadians that local businesses or hotels might offer. As someone who used to frequent Las Vegas often, I have better places to go to now. The glitz and glam and the golf courses in Las Vegas, they just don't appeal to me anymore. So yeah, this one goes squarely into the category of Canadians who are not going back. Now, the creator of Vegas Starfish has another video showing some of the businesses that closed down in 2025. The cat's up. I'm sure you can hear her. I'm sure there are probably more, but let's take a look.
10 Las Vegas businesses that have closed or are closing forever. 2025 was a rough year for tourism in Las Vegas, and no one felt it more than our businesses. The Pepper Club restaurant in the Arts District is permanently closed. The English Hotel remains open. Both Daylight Beach Club at Mandalay Bay and Dre's Beach and Nightclub have permanently closed. Tea Time in Wonderland has permanently closed. So did the Electric Playhouse where the tea time was held. This was super fun, just a terrible location. I'm sad that it's gone. From the owners of St. Honoré and Cafe Lola, both Sorrelinas and Emilio's have just closed. This was super surprising because they've only been open like 8 months. I don't know if it was location, poor planning, or a tax time decision, but I liked both restaurants. It's a shame they're gone, and I'm hopeful that the owners will continue to thrive with their other businesses. Sprinkles Cupcakes just announced that they are closing all locations and their vending machines. Even though these machines were known for embarrassing you by singing a loud song about how much you love cupcakes while you wait for yours, they are the only cake worth eating from a vending machine, and I'm sad they're gone. Bob Marley's Hope Road at Mandalay Bay was the sleeper hit of 2025. It was such a great show and so much fun, but not enough people went, and unfortunately, they are permanently closing. Fingers crossed we see them again someday. And finally, Netflix Bite inside MGM Grand is closing. This was always supposed to be a pop-up, but I had hoped it would stay longer. Tell me which of these you'll miss. I'll put details in the comments. Follow me for all the Vegas.
Now, some of these businesses you may or may not have heard of, but I recognize a few of them, including some of the restaurants as well as the beach nightclubs. They used to be packed when I went years ago, so I am surprised that the beach club is closing. But any of the Vegas tourism officials who think there's going to be some kind of complete bounce back in 2026, they're out to lunch. Vegas might still get the usual domestic visitors, but there's no way in hell that Canadian international tourism is suddenly going to be fixed this year. If anything, it's going to get worse. To close off this video, Claire had sent me her latest video skit, impersonating Karoline Leavitt and her stance towards Canada. I told Claire if there's any way I could help her with her videos, to let me know anytime. Though I don't know how I could help, given I choose to remain anonymous. That said, I highly encourage anyone watching right now to head over to Claire's YouTube channel and subscribe. I'll leave a direct link to her video in the description below, so you can easily click on it and show her your support for another Canadian content creator. We're only 10 days into 2026 as I create this video, and the world already feels tense because of one country and one idiot. Well, maybe more than one idiot. So I think we all need a good laugh every once in a while. That's it for today's video. I'll leave you with Claire's video, and have a great day, everyone.
Good afternoon, White House press corps. I wish you nothing but suffering in the year of our Lord Donald Trump 2026. I am here today to talk about Canada, otherwise known as the America of the North, but colder. After the president personally and bravely took up arms and carried out the most legal invasion the world has ever seen in Venezuela this weekend, NATO has been a judgmental little bitch about it. As we all know, NATO stands for Non-American Trump Opponents, which means that if you were a part of it, you were an enemy of America. Canada is the largest enemy of all. And by that, I mean you have a lot of land that we want. Canada, you weren't supposed to be conquered until after Greenland, Mexico, Cuba, and whatever other Latin American countries are left. But since it's obvious that your Prime Minister Mike Carney is too scared to fight us, we have bumped you up to the top of the list. Congratulations, and welcome to America. Canada has many things the US wants, including oil, drinkable beer, and Justin Bieber, who Donald Trump wishes to hunt for sport. In return, as the 51st state, you will receive negative health care, one gun for every school-aged child, and the healthiest, smartest, most virile president in history. As Stephen Miller said Monday after being released from his coffin, the United States is a superpower, and we will use our military to protect you from us. And to the Canadians thinking about taking up arms and resisting, be warned. Your annoying little politician man named Pierre Poilievre has already agreed to give us your names and addresses in exchange for a few pieces of sexy American lumber. And Danielle Smith sold us Alberta months ago. So to all Canadians, you are welcome in advance. America will kidnap you from communist socialism and drag you kicking and screaming into the land of freedom, whether you like it or not. But feel free to keep writing your strongly worded emails. Any questions? Yes, French will be banned because the president is afraid of it. Thank you. That is all. And we will see you as soon as Mr. Trump remembers who, where, and what he is.